All right, Shalom. It's Brother Kashkala coming back at you with another lesson, giving all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Yachakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone and rule and teach well. Peace of salutation to the elect 144 first fruit. All right, so this lesson is going to be on 140, the 144K, the 1/3, and the peaceful multitude. And pretty much I had a question at camp that arose because I was speaking and I mentioned these three, groups in as separate entities. You could say, okay, they're all separate. And the question was, I thought, pretty much the peaceful multitude was the same as the 1/3, and that's not so. There's those three different groups: the 144,000, and then you got the 1/3. And then you have the peaceful multitude, and we're just going to go ahead and get into it, briefly here today. So this is Zechariah chapter 13 and 8. And first we're going to start with the 1/3. And you could say that the 2/3 as well. But really the 1/3 is what we want to focus on. Because we understand what 2nd Ezra, the 9th chapter, it says, like, we ain't too worried about how, the wicked going to get punished. But we focused on how the righteous get saved. So this is Zechariah chapter 13 and 8. It says, "And it shall come to pass that in all the land, saith the Lord, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the third shall be left therein." All right, verse 9, "And I will bring the third part through the fire, and will refine them as silver is refined, and will try them as gold is tried. They shall call on my name, and I will hear them. I will say, it is my people, and they shall say, the Lord is my power." All right, so let's go back to verse 8. So Zechariah 13 and 8. And it shall come to pass, meaning this is a future prophecy. All right, this is a future prophecy that's being foretold, okay, that is going to happen. And it says, that in all the land, right, that in all the land. And what is that speaking about? When it says that in all the land, that is speaking about America. All right. So it will come to pass in the future times that really we're already living in right now, that in that place called America, continuing, saith the Lord, and that is Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai saying this, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die. Now, it's saying in the future, in a land called America, the Lord is saying that 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die. The 2 parts therein are pretty much a percentage of the Israelites that are going to be cut off. All right. Now we understand what the scriptures say and how we have been scattered, across the, across the face of the earth. All right. And I'll get that here in Ezekiel 20. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to, I want to say 1 Peter 1 and 1. This is 1 Peter chapter 1 and 1. It says, "Peter, an apostle of Yahushua HaMashiach, to the strangers scattered throughout Pontus, Galatia, Cappadocia, Asia, and Bithynia." Now, to the strangers scattered, okay? Meaning what? Israelites who are in a different part of the earth, you could say. Now, when Peter's speaking right here, Pontus, Galatia, this is all part of Asia Minor area, okay? And they known to have most of the Israelites over in Israel, Jerusalem area, because that's Israel's land. But some of them were scattered abroad due to certain circumstances, certain slaveries that we went through. All right. So going back, it says 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die. Right. And those 2 parts is what we call the 2/3. All right. The 2/3. 2/3 Israelites. All right. Usually those are the ones who really don't know the Israelites or doing some absurd things or believe in America. And there's a whole laundry list of, characteristics and attributes to where you can paint the picture of a two-third. Okay? And also, it's going to be in the land of America. So when it talks about the two-third and one-third, that's only in America. Okay? That's only in America. So it says 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the third shall be left therein. So there's going to be a third of the Israelites in America to be saved. Okay? And I'm not the kind of guy to get into the numbers, because really we can't even number Israel, for they are the sand of the seas, and also the law tells us not to number. But from what we see here in America, how many people are here in America? 340 million, some odd people. Most of them are Israelites. There's millions to be saved. Okay? There are millions to be saved. And they're in that third is going to be probably in the millions number. Speaking as a man. Okay? So verse 9, it says, and I will bring the third part through the fire. Now this is maybe a next question that shall arise. Well, will that 1/3 be people who believe? Verse 9 was kind of going to answer the question. It says, I will bring the third part through the fire. The fire is, tribulation and adversities, which shape and mold characteristics. You see, it builds character. It will refine them as silver is refined, and I will try them as gold is tried. They shall call on my name. So that gives it away right there. So that third part, the 1/3, will those people will believe on that name and call on that name. Okay, and he will bring them through the fire. He will refine them. When Jacob's trouble hit, he will link them with a prophet that very well may be a part of the elect 144. You see? All right. So that's one entity, the 1/3. And though the 1/3 is only comprised in America. Okay. So let's go to Revelation 7. Let's go to the peaceable multitude. Well, the elect 144 in the peaceable multitude. So this is Revelation chapter 7 and 4. And I heard, as you can see the title, the 144. All right, 144,000. It says Revelation 7 and 4. And I heard the number of them which were sealed. And there were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel. Of the tribe of Judah were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Reuben were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Gad were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Asher were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Naphtali were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Manasseh were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Simeon were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Levi were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Issachar were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Zebulun were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Joseph were sealed 12,000. And of the tribe of Benjamin were sealed 12,000. All right. So those are all the list of. Salaki, 1 second. So all those are the list of the tribes that are going to be sealed and the amount of individuals who are going to be sealed and become part of the elect 144,000. This is the elect. So you have the 1/3, and then you have the elect 144,000. The elect 144,000 are the spirits that were created from before the foundation of the earth. These were the same ones who helped create the earth with Yahweh Shai. All right, that goes. You can read that going back to John 1:1, Genesis, the first chapter, so on and so forth. All right, maybe I'll do a lesson on that later to bring some more clarification to what I'm speaking here. But for this lesson, for the sake of this lesson, these were the tribes that were sealed. This is the 144. This is a totally different group of people than the 1/3. Okay. Yes, the 1/3 is going to be more so comprised of women and children. There will be some men sprinkled in there because we know what the scriptures say in the Gospels. It says, just loosely paraphrasing, a man who gives a cold cup of water to a prophet, he will receive the same reward. Okay, and that very well may be a 1/3 member. Okay, you got people out there who are really old and kind of stricken in age, can't really move around, but believe in the name of the Lord. You got single women out there. You got widows out there. A lot of widows out there that believe in the name of the Lord. All right, you may have women who are with men who may not believe, but they believe. And that's when you get into 1 Corinthians, the 7th chapter, talked about, the man sanctified, there's a 1 Corinthians 7th chapter, all right? And then you actually got men out there who believe as well, okay? That will end up getting saved, you know what I'm saying? But going back to Revelation chapter 7, so it says, of the tribe of Judah were 12,000. Now the tribe of Judah are the so-called Negroes. All right. Yahweh. All right, which means Yahweh thanks. And you got Reuben. Reuben are the the so-called Seminole Indians. All right. And you got Gad, the so-called Native Americans. And then you got Asher. And you got Asher, who are the so-called Colombians to the Uruguay. All right, in that area, if you go look at a map while I'm saying this. And then you got the Naphtali, who are going from the Argentinians to the to Chile. Okay, and then you got Manasseh, who are the Cubans, the so-called Cubans. And then you got Simeon, who are the so-called Dominicans. And you got Levi, who are the so-called Haitians. And you got Issachar, who are the so-called Mexicans. And you got Zebulon, who are the so-called Guatemalans to the Panamanians. And now I know it says Joseph here. Well, Joseph had 2 sons. Okay, Joseph had 2 sons, and one of them was Ephraim. Okay, I know it mentions Manasseh, but really Joseph right here is Ephraim as well, and those are the so-called Puerto Ricans. Because Ephraim was added into the family, was accepted as a son, and Joseph's name Yahweh means to add. And then you got Benjamin, which are the so-called West Indies. All right, the Jamaicans and things of that nature. Those are the tribes, the so-called. Okay, now you also have people who may look like other nations. You got Israelites who look like Chinese people, Japanese people, who look like white people. You know what I'm saying? But it's really the spirit that bears witness, and they could possibly. That's why the scriptures talk about we're scattered. All right, so we look, and we Israelites mingled with different nations, and we look certain ways. Okay, so these are what I'm just saying as so-called. All right, but these are the elect 144. All right, now let's keep reading, and we're gonna go into the peaceable multitude, verse 9. After this I beheld, and the peaceable multitude is another group of people, separate from the 1/3 and separate from the elect 144. It says, after this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hand, and cried with a loud voice, saying, salvation to our power, which sitteth upon the throne, and unto the Lamb. Now the Lamb is Yahushua. Okay? So with that being said, this is a whole nother group of people. And it says, from what? All nations, kindreds, and people and tongues. That means it's Israelites that were scattered abroad in different areas of the world. That's simple. Let's go to 2nd Ezra, the 13th chapter. Now, 2nd Ezra, the 13th chapter is speaking about Yahushua's destruction over there in the Middle East especially to the land of Israel, because that land needs to be cleansed. Salakia. Because that land needs to be cleansed. And this is giving a well-painted picture of what's going to happen over there in the Middle East. And also this gives the action of what's going to take place, of what it's speaking about in Joel, the book of Joel, okay? Where it talks about the Valley of Jehoshaphat and all of the armies gathering up there. This is really explaining the details of what's going to happen, all right? So let's skip down. All right, to verse 11. All right, it says, and they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest. Now, this is what it's describing a laser beam, all right, or concentrated fire that the Lord is going to shoot out of his chariot with just the thought of his mind. It says, and fell with violence upon the multitude. That multitude was the multitude of armies that came together, speaking about, again, in Joel, to come and fight against Yahushua. It says, which was prepared to fight, and burnt them up every one, so that upon a sudden, an innumerable multitude, nothing was perceived, but only dust and smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid, right? Because Ezra was seeing a glorious vision, with a mass amount of death and destruction. And seeing something like that can and will freak you out. My man, boost your fear in the Lord. Now, verse 12. So I read verse 11 just to understand and paint the picture of where we're at, where this happened. This happened over in the Middle East area. All right. Totally far away from America. All right. And let me say this too, going back to the 144. The 144 are scattered everywhere in the world. All right. Let's get that clear. The 1/3 are in that land. They're only in America. Okay. So you got one group of people that the Bible speaks of is only in America. Then you have the elect 144 that are scattered across the four corners of the earth. That's why when you read up a little bit, it says what? Verse 3, Revelation 73, saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our power in their foreheads. It says, hurt not the earth. Now, if the 144 were only in America, it would be like, I'm not trying to add on or anything, but I'm just, explaining. It would be more so what it says in Zechariah, hurt not that land yet. Okay? But no, the earth, meaning the whole compass of the earth. All right? So let's continue in 2nd Ezra. So we understand that the elect 144 are scattered on the four corners. The 1/3 are only in America. So that's two groups of people. Now let's get to the peaceable multitude. And we understand this is in the land of Israel, the Middle East area, which is pretty much Eden, which the Lord Yahushua is going to come back and cleanse. And we saw the manner of how he's going to do it in verse 11. Verse 12. Afterward I saw the same man, which is Yahushua, come down from the mountain, which he was explaining a mountain as his chariot. That goes to show you the gigantic size of the chariot that Yahushua is coming back on. All right. And call unto him an other peaceable multitude. So peaceable multitude is speaking about like twice here in the Apocrypha and also in the Bible. Okay. This is the peaceable multitude. Okay. And it says what? It says, and there came much people unto him, wherefore some were glad, some were sorry, some of them were bound, and others some brought of them that were offered. Then was I sick through great fear, and I awaked and said. So we're stopping right there. So that is a peaceable multitude. Okay? So all of them came in a type of manner to Yahushua. And these are individuals who are, on the other side of the earth or scattered around, who ended up more than likely believing in the Lord after they saw people get beamed up, chariots come, Leviathan pop out, behemoth come out, missiles hit everywhere, the laser beams turning people to dust, Isaiah the 34th chapter come to pass, Revelation the 12th chapter come to pass. Okay, and then they see a man come down from a chariot in an angelic form. They're going to believe. Those are like the peaceable multitude, all right, who came to Yahushua. That's another group of people, okay? So I'm going to read Ezekiel chapter 20 because you're going to have people, or Israelites, let me say that, who after everything that I just mentioned still won't believe. And this is what's going to be done to them. So Ezekiel chapter 20, verse 33. As I live, saith the Lord, power, surely with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out, I will rule over you. So pretty much the Lord is saying, regardless of what you think, do, say, I'm going to rule over you. And it's going to be that way, regardless of what you think. Verse 34. So with that being said, you can either rebel or you can just bow down and submit. You choose. The scriptures talked about how the Lord gave us the option of life and death. Simple. Now you're going to have some of them Israelites who seeing all these things still not going to submit. They're going to rebel still. That's a heavy spirit of rebellion. Verse 34. And I'll bring you out from the people and gather you out of the countries wherein you were scattered with the mighty hand and stretched out arm and with fury poured out. See, that goes to show you that Israelites are scattered across the four corners of the earth. And I'll bring you into the wilderness of the people, and there will I plead with you face to face. So a sifting is going to take place. Like I pleaded with your fathers in the wilderness of the land of Egypt, so will I plead with you, saith the Lord power. Now this is going to take place after all the destruction and salvation happens, okay? Verse 37, and I will cause you to pass under the rod, and I will bring you into the bond of the covenant, which is the new one that he set place, which you can read about in Ezekiel 37, Jeremiah 31, and Hebrews the 8th chapter. All right, 38. And I will purge out from among you the rebels, and them that transgressed against me. I will bring them forth out of the country where they sojourn. So that goes back to what? After the elect get beamed up, they're going to come back down to earth, and they're going to go to these other countries where these other Israelites are, and they're going to clean shop, and they're going to sift Israel, okay? And they shall not enter into the land of Israel, and ye shall know that I am the Lord. You see that? All right. So you have three different groups. Well, really, I kind of mentioned like five, but the main three is the 1/3, which is comprised in America, which is separate from the peaceful multitude, which is another group that's really comprised all throughout the earth. And then you got the elect 144, who are the gifts of Yahushua that are comprised of that number and are around the earth as well. Now, the other two that I mentioned was like the 2/3. 2/3 are in Israel, are in the land of America, who are going to get burned with the nuclear fire. And then also you got the rebels across the four corners of the earth. They're going to get purged out by the elect 144 once they come back down. After all, pretty much when the smoke cleared. You can really read about that in Revelation, the 21st chapter, when the new heaven comes back down on earth. Okay? So Lord willing, this is edifying, and if anyone ever had a question on this, so hopefully you learned from it. I want to give all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem HaChakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, the great millstone, and rule and teach well. Peace, love, salutation to the elect 144 first fruit. Brother Kasha, call until the next time. I'm going to say shalom. And like always, repent, for Yahushua is coming back sooner than what me and you believed. Shalom.